help answer some of those questions is Jennifer Jacobus from the San Diego Employers Association. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. These are really difficult and new times trying to navigate through, so I know there's a lot of questions.
For sure.
One of which we talked a little bit about this morning. Can your employer take your temperature at work?
They cannot. This is a common question. It kind of makes sense, right, that an employer would want to do that to protect the business, their customers.
Protect everyone else in the workplace.
Exactly.
Yes.
But under the federal law, Americans with Disabilities Act, that is considered a medical exam, and employers are not permitted to do that.
Okay. Some of the other, some of the other questions are certainly irrelevant now that we have non-essential workers being told to stay at home, and hopefully they're abiding by the governor's guidelines.
Yes.
But some of these questions are: if you're an essential worker and you're afraid to come to work for whatever reason that may be, what do you tell employers at that point?
Yeah, great question, because this does come up, that employers naturally, right, afraid to be out there and be potentially exposed. What we're telling our employers is, to take that into consideration. Is there a vital reason to have those employees at work? Is it essential that they're there? Can they telecommute? Is there work that they can do from home? But black and white, under a lot of circumstances, the employer can require those employees to come in and, or require them to use vacation or sick. They certainly don't have to pay them to stay home if they're not quarantined.
Right. Okay. And are you, if an employee cannot work because of a child care issue, this is something obviously with the schools being shut down and the new restrictions on daycares,
right,
there are new difficulties on parents, especially those now who are considered essential workers who have to be working.
Right. So good news on that. Night before last, it's hard to keep our days straight, the president signed a bill that will allow some help and some assistance for employees that are forced to stay home because schools are closed or their daycare facilities are closed. So there's two parts of the bill that apply to employees and employers, and it's an extended sick leave and extended federal family medical leave. The sick leave will provide 2 weeks of paid leave that the employer will need to provide to the employees if they need to stay home for daycare, and the employer will be reimbursed through their payroll taxes.
Okay. And then you talk about a new bill, not passed yet, that would require employers with 500 or fewer employees to provide up to, 12 weeks of job protected status?
Correct. And actually that was the bill that the president did sign.
So that had addition to the
Yes.
child care needs bill.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that would, again, expand your leave, and is it similar to a disability, what we see in California, or like a maternity leave where you're getting 60% of your pay or so?
Well, this is a little bit different because generally under the Family Medical Leave Act, the employer is not required to compensate their employees. So this bill that was passed will provide 2/3 up to, I think, $200 a day for employees that need to stay home. So separate from disability, this is going to be something that the employer is paid or be paying, and again reimbursed through the payroll taxes.
And I wonder, there's always that question of, okay, I had no option. I had to quit my job and I had to go home. I have no idea how I'm going to pay my bills, not do anything, but I have XYZ going on at home, and that comes first. What about having your position guaranteed when all of this all of this dust settles? Is that something that any of these bills have taken into consideration?
Yeah, the extended Family Medical Leave Act is a job protected leave. Unfortunately, there's going to be some businesses that are out of business, so that's not going to help those people, and those employees are going to be their resource is going to be unemployment.
Okay. All right, so if there's a message you want to give to employees, employers about how to navigate this.
Hang in there. There's lots of information on site through the EDD, the California Employment Development Department, the Labor Department. They have a lot of information. Us, San Diego Employers Association, we're helping employers navigate through this process. And I think employers, if they can really consider telecommuting for their employees, if that's an option, if it's a stretch for them, Something even if you don't normally do, if the employees can work from home, there's some businesses, we have differences between businesses that have to stay in business, that are going to be closing, but there's some businesses that can still operate. They can still work, and we should consider letting those employees work from home.
Yeah, maybe it will open up a whole new window of being able to be more efficient and have lower costs in the future. I mean, if you're trying to look for some bright aspects of all of this. Jennifer, thank you so much.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.